George Russell did not just win the Austrian Grand Prix. He changed the temperature of the 2026 title fight because before Austria, the story looked much cleaner. Kimi Antonelli had control. Lewis Hamilton had just given Ferrari its breakthrough moment in Barcelona. Russell was close, but not quite the center of the season. Verstappen was dangerous, but Red Bull still looked like a team searching for answers. McLaren was fast enough to matter, but not frightening enough to own the conversation. Then Austria tightened everything. Russell won. Verstappen finished second, only 1.6 seconds behind. Antonelli came home third, less than 2 seconds from the win. That podium did not decide the championship, but it made the front of Formula One feel closer, sharper, and much less predictable than it did before the lights went out. Mercedes left Austria with the race winner, the championship leader, and the constructors' lead. On paper, that is the dream. In reality, it is also the beginning of an internal problem every dominant team eventually has to manage. Russell is no longer just the experienced teammate helping Mercedes control the season. He is back in the fight. Antonelli still leads, but Russell cut the gap and reminded everyone that Mercedes does not have one title candidate. It has two. That sounds powerful until Silverstone arrives. Silverstone is Russell's home race. It is fast, exposed, emotional, and impossible to treat like just another weekend. If Russell arrives there believing Austria restarted his season, Mercedes has a new problem. How do you let both drivers race without letting Ferrari, Red Bull, or McLaren steal the weekend while they fight each other? Ferrari needs exactly that kind of opening because Austria was a reality check. Barcelona made Ferrari look calm. Austria made Ferrari look ordinary again. Hamilton finished 5th. Leclerc finished 8th. After the emotion of Hamilton's first Ferrari win, Ferrari ran into tire degradation, heat, and a race that never quite came back to them. That is not fatal, but it is dangerous. Hamilton's Ferrari story only works if Barcelona becomes the beginning of something. If it becomes one beautiful weekend surrounded by Mercedes control, then the championship starts closing around him. That is why Silverstone gets loud. Hamilton in Ferrari red, back in Britain, chasing a Mercedes team that now has Russell and Antonelli fighting for oxygen. That is not just a race preview. That is the kind of emotional pressure Formula One turns into chaos. And then there is Verstappen. Austria was Red Bull's best result of the season so far, and it came at exactly the wrong time for everyone else. Verstappen did not win, but he made the leaders feel him again. Red Bull may not control 2026, but Verstappen does not need control to ruin someone's Sunday. The timing also makes the McLaren subplot harder to ignore. Zak Brown was asked again about Verstappen, and he did not shut the door in the way Red Bull would have wanted. Maybe it is real. Maybe it is gamesmanship. Maybe it is just paddock theater designed to make Red Bull uncomfortable. But the timing is perfect. Verstappen has his strongest race of the year. Red Bull looks more alive. McLaren is close enough to be relevant, but not close enough to dominate, and the idea of Verstappen and Papaya starts floating around the paddock like a match. That is dirty air in the purest sense. Not the air behind the car, but the air around the teams. The questions, the rumors, the pressure points, and the little comments that make people wonder whether everyone is as committed as they sound. Austria gave us the clean result. Russell first, Verstappen second, Antonelli third. Silverstone gets the mess. It gets Russell arriving as a winner at home. It gets Antonelli trying to protect a championship lead while his teammate closes in. It gets Hamilton trying to prove Ferrari's Barcelona breakthrough was not a one-off. It gets Verstappen looking dangerous, just as the McLaren rumors refuse to die. And it gets McLaren facing a brutal question. Are they a title threat, or are they becoming the team everyone uses to talk about someone else's future? That is why Austria matters. It did not decide the championship. It made the next race combustible. Mercedes has control. Ferrari has something to prove. Red Bull has a pulse. McLaren has a rumor problem. And Formula One suddenly has a title fight that feels much dirtier than the standings suggest. Subscribe to Dirty Air for Formula One stories about the pressure, politics, and decisions behind the result.